Well, shooters and reloaders and all you Three Circles passengers and members out there, it's Fortune Cookie 45LC coming to you from the hot lead zone. And what you're looking at is the Lee Factory Crimp Die. Now, it turns out that Ensign Cthulhu had a comment question where he was wondering why I couldn't use the Lee Factory Crimp Die to do the crimp on these nice 38 short Colts. The 38 short Colt die set does not include a Lee Factory Crimp Die because Lee doesn't make a 38 short Colt factory crimp die. So what I did was I went ahead and crimped these 38 short Colts by using the seater die to seat the bullet in one step and then back out the seating stem and then lower the die body to crimp in a second step. Now, you've heard me say before that the Lee Factory Crimp Die provides the best crimp in the business. And a lot of you agree with that, but there are some that don't. And there are some reloaders who actually hate the Lee Factory Crimp Die. Seems the controversy revolves around the carbide ring that's at the bottom, the beginning of the die mouth. Because when a round goes into the factory crimp die, the carbide ring is just the right size to take out irregularities, bulges, imperfections caused by the reloading process that would interfere with the round chambering in our guns. The controversy is, does the carbide ring just remove the irregularities, or does it resize the whole case, and thereby, by squeezing the whole case, it causes bullets to be squeezed down, and then when the case bounces back out, you actually lose bullet tension, and that's why this die is hated, because the thinking is that this die does that. It loses bullet tension. The shooters that love this die haven't found that to happen. Because if it did happen, we'd all hate this die. So the trick is, if your ammunition is outside the window, say your bullet is so oversized that when it goes into the factory crimp die, it does get squeezed down, then you got a problem. But that's if your ammunition is that far out of range. If your ammunition is in the proper zone, this die doesn't do anything bad to the bullet tension, but it does provide increased reliability and the best crimp in the business. However, what Ensign Cthulhu wants to know is there's no die in the factory crimp die that will allow it to work with cartridges like the 38 short Colt. And straight up, that's true. But here's what you do for a solution that I didn't do in the video that was on the 38 short Colt loading because the video got a little long already. Let's show you what we can do to make this die work for the 38 short Colt. So we screwed the die body all the way down until it touched the shell holder. So you can't get the die body down any farther than that. Then the crimping stem was lowered all the way down until it bottomed out. And then the 38 short Colt would not go in far enough to be crimped. Which means this die can't be used, right? Well, straight up, no. But with a very interesting modification, yes. Notice that this die, when the stem is all the way down, there's a little... Do you hear that rattle in there? If you get rid of that play, then the round will go up there and get crimped, because the reason it's not getting crimped is because the case goes up and the crimper goes up in that play, and there's no stopping of that play with the stem. So the solution is stop the play. Here's how you do it. You simply take out the stem like this, and out comes the part that actually does the crimping. And you see this actually rides inside there with a little bit of play, and the stem stops the play, and as you adjust the stem, it adjusts the amount of play that crimper has in there to do its work. We take a 40 Smith & Wesson case and we drop it in there, and that stops the play when we go ahead and put the crimping stem back in, and we put it in until it stops. Right there. You see there's no more play. That puts the crimping stem down as far as it'll go, and it'll allow us to crimp shorter rounds because there's no play to be taken up. Now let's put this back in the press. So we take a loaded round that needs crimping, raise it all the way up, and then lower this until we feel it hit the case mouth. Right there. We back out the round, and then we go ahead and use our rule. Do you want a good crimp or a heavy crimp? A half turn will get you a good crimp. But in this case, since we've crimped the rounds already with the regular Lee cedar die, we only want to give it a little bit of extra crimp. Right there. Now we lock the die lock ring down. And now we can go ahead and crimp and use the carbide ring to full advantage with the 38 short Colt. Now as I put a case up into the die, notice the hesitation. There. That's the carbide ring removing a little bit of interference. Now you see it's not sizing the whole case, so you're not losing bullet tension, as the haters would hate this die for that reason, but it's for a reason that doesn't exist. Now, there's the crimp. What I like to do is give it 180 degrees or maybe a little less, and then go ahead and equalize that crimp. And it can go pretty fast there, you see. Every one of these that had a little hesitation there. That's a little bit of interference that would cause some problems for the round to chamber smoothly. You want the best feeding possible, whether you're working with a revolver or automatic pistol. Show you that some more. Go ahead and put a round in, and there's that hesitation. Give it a little rotation and equalize that crimp. No other crimping die in the business has a carbide ring in the crimping die. Only Lee. That alone is something that is a marvelous advantage in terms of value, because carbide rings are expensive to give you in a die set, and you get an extra carbide ring with the 4 die sets, or when you buy this die separately, it's like what, $13, $15, $16, something like that. That's a real bargain for a carbide ring. Now, Lee Precision doesn't pay me anything to say these things. I only say it because Lee Products, Lee Precision, Lee Innovation has made our shooting so much better, our reloading so much better than it could be without all those innovations. You see, during my shooting career, I've seen Richard Lee put the industry on its ear with his innovation, that he kept coming forward with more and more innovation as the years progressed. Look at this. 2-cavity bullet mold, got most people started in bullet casting because these were inexpensive. Even today, they're only $20. You can cast to your heart's content with these. But then he came out with 6 cavity molds for the high volume shooters. And for $50, look what you get. And these handles themselves are so good that other companies have made their molds to fit these handles. Look at the fine quality of the Lee collet neck size die for rifle shooters, and what this die does for a very reasonable fee of $26, it puts the hole where the bullet's held in rifle cartridges perfectly concentric with a flash hole, so you get run out that's like 1/1000th of an inch with good bullets. What can you do with that kind of innovation? And for those who say that Lee dies aren't well finished, this is one of the most well finished dies you'll ever see. Even today, Lee Innovation is putting the industry on its ear. Look at these die lock rings. Like right now, they're putting these die lock rings on their die sets. But Lee just came out with these. They are cross-lock die lock rings made out of fine aluminum, and you know aluminum can be very good if it's good aluminum. They use it in airplanes, they use it in firearm receivers. Nothing wrong with aluminum. And Lee claims that this is the best die lock ring ever made. Ever. Well, you know, I wouldn't argue with that because I've used these now and I keep getting more of them. Comes with a wrench to help tighten these things, and for $10 you get the best die lock rings that were ever made. Lee continues to be a family-owned business that continues to keep putting the industry on its ear with innovation that keeps on coming. And to the credit of our other fine manufacturers like Hornady and Lyman and RCBS and Redding, to their credit, they've raised their game also as Lee has raised the bar. So hats off to Lee, and we'll see you in the next video. Ensign Cthulhu. I hope that this answers all your questions. Take care. Bye for now.